Okay, it looks like our attendee list is off, and I will turn this over to Jeff Walzak. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And as we always do, we got to tell you that eTruckBiz is not endorsed, sponsored, or anything else by FedEx Corporation. All right, let's see here. And as we usually do, we have some words from Becca.
Thank you. As you may know, more and more contractors are facing the complexity that Network 2.0 brings. This includes the new service requirements. This is going to completely change operational planning and management, plus the business culture change, which is huge. Getting your BCs and drivers to accept change and adopt new procedures may be very challenging. And then financial consequences. This is the increased density, and it's coming at a cost. So what we're seeing is that all of these factors are causing serious problems for your business. And many service providers are having trouble solving the Network 2.0 problems that FedEx won't help solve. That is why eTruckBiz is here. We will help service providers solve any Network 2.0 related problems. And we support services and software exclusively for FedEx contractors that solve your business and operational problems. This is going to be primarily through our business growth and support system, which I'm sure you hear me talk about each week, but it is the different programs that we are offering to focus on making those changes that I just mentioned and how to go about it and creating goals for your business so that you are running efficiently. And if you have any questions about any of the programs, the BGSS, and overall, please feel free to scan this QR code, get a free information session with me, or you can always email me if you have any questions at all, Becca@eTruckBiz.com.
Thank you, Becca. And as we do every week, we want to take a look at how the volume's doing. Ooh, a little stagnant on the vans. So good news, didn't really go down much. Bad news is didn't go up much either. So kind of stagnant, and the packages up a smidge, but not the same. Delivery volume down about 1%, 1.5%. So this is it's good and bad. You want to see the volume go up, of course. But when it's this time of year, this is when you can get some real good training in because the volume kind of stays about the same. So we're seeing that happen. And then from a productivity standpoint, we just drifted south a little bit again. So again, hopefully that's from training new folks. Okay, there's a little bit of news. UPS and Amazon, as you know, are parting ways. And they have about, some are saying that there's another 60% of the volume that needs to leave UPS and go somewhere. So it needs to happen by June, and we can't get any good confirmation of this, but supposedly a lot of that volume is coming to FedEx. Don't know for sure, but that's out. And then Thursday after the bell, FedEx will have another earnings report. So we'll see what happens. Probably not a lot of news this time because they just had their investor day, but we'll see what happens. We'll keep on it for you and probably report on it next week. So we want to go through, there's a lot of things going on right now. And this, let me say, from the express side of the house is not necessarily happy with everything going on the ground side of the house. And we're seeing some more folks calling, asking us about different things, and they're starting to get pickier about things in the contracts. We want to understand why FedEx might terminate or choose not to renew a contract. Now, we're not sitting here trying to scare you. You just have to be aware, be prepared, not scared. This isn't meant to scare you, but rather to educate you. If you're a contractor working at FedEx, knowing these reasons up front helps you avoid the problems and protect your investment, of course, right? So we're going to walk through some of the more common reasons, and if some of them we'll tell you are very common here lately. The first thing that we're seeing people talking about where there's trouble is badge swapping. You might call it something else, but badge swapping is a serious integrity violation at FedEx. Using someone else's badge results in immediate termination. This happens when BCs and those are desperate to cover shifts because staffing is tight. We can help you solve the root cause, which is through our Admin IQ program. Keep your driver pipeline constantly full so you never need to resort to badge swapping. When you have adequate staffing, compliance becomes automatic. BCs don't feel pressured to break rules. And that's what happens is you wind up, you've got some dispatches that have to be made, whatever. So you do whatever you got to do to get them out because you think that's what FedEx wants, but they will not. The badge swapping thing, they're going bonkers on this right now, folks. Wanted to make this the number one thing. Don't do it. You have to recruit all the time so you don't get forced into something like this because it's worth the cost to constantly recruit so you don't lose your contract. Okay, number two, chronic poor service. The problem is when service metrics consistently fall or fail without any improvement strategy, it puts the entire contract at risk. This is a critical issue for logistics for FedEx operators. So the way to combat this is to have real-time visibility like you do with our software products, along with the driver app, give you immediate visibility into service failures before they happen. No waiting for end-of-day reports, especially folks with the time definites. But now missing 10:30s and noons is starting to become a huge issue if it continues. And we've seen this. If it happens too much, and it looks like it's not going to get fixed, they're not playing with this anymore, folks. They're going after the service part of the contract. You have to watch what's coming up, and then you have to get in touch with the drivers. You got one coming up at 10:30 at noon, whatever, you got to get there. Well, I don't have time to get there. I can't. That's not happening anymore. They're starting to go after that, okay? So another thing lately that has been an issue is financial instability is a major red flag for FedEx. Unpaid taxes, fuel costs, equipment leases tell FedEx that you're putting their service at risk. When you can't keep up with payments, networks, FedEx won't renew your contract. We've just seen this several times here recently. So that's, of course, where our tools come in with Budget IQ, gives you real visibility in your cash flow. It's one thing to know you're having trouble with your bills. It's another thing to try to plan it out so you can make sure at least the major bills do get paid. Our financial strategists work with you to identify the problem, places where you're bleeding money. Together, we help you plug those leaks and stabilize your finances before it impacts your FedEx relationship. So there's certain things you can pay and certain things that maybe can slide for a little bit. Any kind of insurance bills, no tolerance anymore for that. That if FedEx finds out about that, and that's the reason, they won't dispatch your trucks, that's for one thing. All I can say is those bills you got to pay. Right. The next thing we're seeing here recently is, of course, safety. We probably don't have to say too much about this, but the high accident frequency is a major liability issue. Unsafe contractors face quick termination. It's always been the case. We can help you with Performance IQ, where we automatically track and monitor your vehicles for driver safety and safety KPIs. We have a room full of people over here watching, and real-time visibility into safety metrics helps identify problem areas before they escalate. Safety Track is another feature that we have that helps increase the awareness. Safety, folks, is all about awareness. It's all about talking to the folks, communicating, and making sure that they... The fifth thing is, and this, folks, don't want to say too much about this, but being a disruptive force. So what does that mean? Contractors that create toxicity or disruption in terminal operations sometimes won't get their contracts renewed. It's a real risk to the business relationship. Being a squeaky wheel or going around proper channels, trying to get a hold of somebody because I got a problem I need trouble handling, damages your credibility and your relationships. Performance IQ experts serve as professional sounding board for navigating terminal politics. We help the issues right away through appropriate channels and with the right stakeholders. This approach protects your reputation and keeps operations running smoothly. You just get crazy with letting your displeasure being known by the terminal. You probably want to talk to one of us first so we can see if we can help you do that in a politically correct. This is becoming much more prominent. Shady business transfers. When you transfer your business in the form of a stock sale without properly transferring your operating agreement with FedEx, they're going to terminate that not from the person that bought it. So if you're watching this video or you're with us live here, if you bought your company through a stock sale, you might want to call us and tell us or try to review what's going on here, because there's been several situations here recently where the stock sales didn't really come with a contract, just to try to put it simply, and that's a bad thing. So we have business experts who understand FedEx's specific succession and assignment requirements. We'll make you sure your transfer is done right and fully approved by FedEx so you don't lose your contract in the process. There is possibly a way if you bought something through a stock sale to fix it, but you got to catch it before they do. If they catch it, that's bad news. So if anybody's listening and you're curious about the stock sale thing, give us a call. Okay, and this has reared its head again. So PR, nuclear options, and integrity violations. So what we mean by a PR attack is going public with criticism. In the case of some of you folks might remember some things that were happening a couple years ago on the national news is essentially self-sabotage. You're handing over your own termination papers. This burns bridges permanently and damages your professional reputation. Here's the deal. You don't want to go on a podcast, any kind of news, radio, and possibly even social media telling people things that you don't necessarily know that could be wrong with the FedEx network or bad-mouthing the FedEx brand. Just telling you, don't do it. It's not worth it. We already talked about this, insurance compliance lapses. So there's been some incidents lately where insurance, I already mentioned it, but let's just put it this way. Make sure you keep your insurance coverages in place. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. This is an oldie but a goodie, but misclassification of personnel. One of the biggest compliance risks is misclassifying drivers as independent contractors when they should be W-2 employees. The 1099 trap. Companies try to avoid payroll taxes and benefits by calling workers contractors, but this violates wage and hour laws. When this happens, FedEx and other platforms will quickly terminate the relationship to distance themselves from the liability, leaving you exposed. So joint employment risk means you could be held responsible for unpaid wages, overtime taxes, and penalties. If you get into the admin IT program, our payroll and HR support folks, here's something that happens a lot here lately is, well, I just paid this guy to be a helper for a day and I gave him $100 or whatever you do. That's coming back to bite people in the butt, folks. You can't pay people through Venmo. You can't do that because if that person comes back for some reason or another saying that who knows what, they're going to hunt it down. And these are definitely becoming an issue here recently. Don't do it. Anybody that works for you has to be on the payroll. And that's how it goes. And this is another one. So data integrity and reporting of fraud. So falsifying any records is unacceptable. This includes monthly maintenance logs, stop data, or driver qualification, especially driver qualification information. So again, our systems, the Boston Optics app, give you a single source of truth that everyone can review. This means there's no legitimate reason to manipulate numbers or create false records. During audits, everything is transparent and accurate. Okay. They're really cracking down on this. That's something that didn't happen. It did happen. Not to say that it didn't happen at Express, but the Express folks are saying that the ground side of the house has come up with unusual new ways to commit fraud, basically. Failure to maintain road-ready equipment. This is about keeping vehicles road-ready and compliant. The risk is expired tags, bald tires, body damage. These aren't just safety issues, they're termination triggers. If a pattern of red tagged vehicles shows up in your fleet, you're looking at a serious compliance review that could end your contract. So you want to use the driver app and electronic DVIRs. Drivers can flag maintenance issues instantly, no delays. The BOSS system handles the back end, tracks all of your maintenance schedules and repair costs so nothing falls through the cracks. Bottom line is preventive maintenance keeps vehicles safe, keeps you compliant, and keeps your contract intact. We have a way in one of the systems that if a driver finds, let's say, a cracked mirror or something, once they find it and they put it into their driver app, you could send that right to a mechanic and the mechanic would know to get that fixed right away. You could track all that stuff nice and tidy, and you want to make sure that you catch it before our friends at FedEx do. Point is, you need to fix that stuff anyway. What's happening is stuff like poor maintenance habits is showing the signs of a weak business. I don't think I have to tell you that, but our friends at FedEx are onto that here recently. And then, of course, security breaches are a zero tolerance issue in the industry. Allowing unvetted people onto trucks is a massive liability. One violation could result in immediate termination, which again happened last week. No second chances, no opportunity to cure. eTruckBiz addresses this through two key systems. Admin IQ vets every hire through First Advantage background screening before they ever start, and Performance I continuously reinforces and monitors terminal security calls to keep everyone accountable. This is a layered approach that protects your operation, and that's what need. There is a safety valve, if you want to call it that. There is, some people know about this and some people don't know about this, so we're going to go through it. The safety valve is your formal warning system. Think of it as a last chance before terminating a contract or not renewing a contract. An opportunity to cure letter. You can get 7 to 30 days to fix the specific breach that triggered it. It's usually issued before any termination decision is finalized. So there is a critical exception. Integrity violations and illegal acts skip this process immediately. So if there's an integrity issue or something a little more serious, they will immediately terminate a contract. Those result in immediate termination, I just said, with an OTC opportunity, no grace period, no chance to cure in a serious violation situation. This is actually, if you get a OTC, it's actually valuable time. Now here's the thing, don't dismiss or ignore an OTC. I don't know where this came from here recently, but recently, people are ignoring OTCs. Many contractors strategically use this window to explore selling their business. So if you get an OTC, I'm not telling you should, I'm telling you that it's something to think about. It's a real opportunity to make moves before the termination becomes final. Treat it as a serious business. Treat it as the serious business document as it is. So again, I don't know what started this, but ignoring an OTC doesn't mean it will go away. So what do you do when you get an OTC, opportunity to cure letter? Don't get defensive. When you get an OTC, your first instinct might be to push back. Don't. Read the exact contract article they're citing. Keep it professional. Emotions are not going to help you when you first get an OTC. However, document everything. Pull your own data immediately. And of course, that's why you have eTruckBiz. So you can pull your own data immediately. FedEx doesn't care about what you promised verbally or what you think happened. Everything comes down to documentation. Get your records in order. Create a corrective action plan. Even if they didn't ask for one, give them one anyway. Show them exactly how you're going to fix the issue and by when. It demonstrates you're taking it seriously and have a real solution. And as we said before, evaluate your exit. Be realistic. If this breach can't be fixed, you might need to consider a forced sale. It sounds dramatic, but it's better to sell on your own terms than wait for them to terminate or force a fire sale. Okay. Again, data talks, everything else doesn't. And how can we help? So there's the corrective action plan drafting. Our business coaching team takes the complexity out of writing corrective action plan. We use your actual optics and boss data to create something professional and credible that addresses the issue head on. Protect your investment. This is about staying proactive. We help you get ahead of the audits, maintain the high service standards your customers expect, and keep your reputation spotless. When you're doing everything right, you don't have to worry about scrutiny. Now, those are definitely not the only issues that you could run into that could turn into a contract termination or non-renewal. There's tons more. Those are just the ones that seem to be popping up more as it looks like the express side of the house is putting the pressure on the ground side of the house, I think, ahead of the big move, the big integration move later this year. So at this point, does anybody on here have any questions or situations or comments that you want to talk about at this point? Okay, if not, then we'll be back here next week with another weekly business update. And that's it for now. Thanks.